Alright, boys, how he's doing?
Yeah, good man.
Aye, all good.
Good. Right, a word to warning first. It's 11:05 on a Thursday night. We need this pod out by tomorrow morning, so please don't say we can't have 2 minutes in this because the edit will be an absolute so make sure we don't say it. Alright, lads, how he's doing? We all good?
Really glad we tell you that, eh?
How about you fuck off, you cunt?
You should never, ever line it up. I'll never miss the opportunity. Anyway, welcome back to This Is My Story, your unofficial Hearts podcast. We are no longer undefeated. We are no longer loving life. And it's going to be 2 hours of us battering the football club for absolutely everything, the way we all enjoy it. I've been looking forward to this all week. I'm only kidding.
I knew it.
I'm only kidding on. I'm only joking. We'll be back to winning ways on Saturday. Don't you worry. So, Ando, it's been happening. How's your week been?
No bad. I've been prepping myself for this because I thought I've finally got something to fucking moan about, and I'm going to be back to my happy old self. Is that's so backwards, I know, but I've made my peace with that defeat at the weekend. Then, but as you say, back to winning ways on Saturday. I am going to be uber positive tonight. So there we go. It's a new tact from me.
I'm looking forward to it. Tam, how's your week been?
All good. I've got over Saturday's result since it's Thursday now, so I can't wait till our new recording day of Sunday comes into play, and we're all just going to be absolutely raging with our weekends. Our weekend's been spoiled by Hearts, and we're going to just like rip into every single bit of the team, managers, board, everything. So that'll be
everything.
Good.
That's what I love. Well, that's what I love. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. That's what gets me going. Kev, how's your week been?
My week's been shite because Hearts were shite.
Yes.
I've not let them off. Lackluster and just full of shit, which is a little bit like my week. So yeah, blame them for it. Simple.
Wow.
Are you just a little bit angry because you spent all week ordering vegan cheese pizzas?
No.
Okay,
That's
that's
right.
fine. Just checking.
Let's not bring Kev's work in it. Let's not bring Kev's work in it. Obviously, we'll dive through all of the week that has been Hearts. We've got loads to talk about as the very weird world of Hearts. We had some peak Heartsness this week, which we'll talk about. We'll go through Shanks McCann's. Kev's got a quiz for us. We've got We Predictor Update. We've got Hunt Down Quiz, one of our favourite features from the bygone days. That we will also talk about bygone days when Andy Halliday playing on our PA in our headlines. We'll come to that later. We'll do our Aberdeen review. We'll look at Dundee United on Saturday, and we'll do our predictions. So, as always, you can get in contact with us on all of the social medias. We're on Twitter at This My Story Pod. You can get in contact with us at the website, which is admin at thisismystory.uk, or you can get us on Instagram. This is my story 1874. Right? Does anybody remember what Shanks said, or do you just want to jump straight to the answer of Shanks McCann remember from last week?
Oh, don't you worry, I've got the clues here.
Right,
So he emailed me them after the episode last week. So they went down to 10 after 30 minutes when their star man saw red after a shocking challenge on our centre half. In a very rare man of the match performance, he opened the scoring. He picked up a cross from the left, standing in acres of space. He smashed it into an empty net. Their keeper never even made it out in the second half because he was hooked. And our wee fat arse secured the points and secured a 0-2 tasty victory. Absolute scenes. That was his clues.
We picked holes in it last week. There's loads of flaws in that. Nadie didn't score in an empty net. I don't know where he's got that for.
Don't think he smashed it either, from what I remember.
He did not smash it either. And out of everybody that's got a fat arse, I'm not sure 4'3", 8 stone Gary Glenn is the right guy, but never mind. It's Shanks we're talking about, and it obviously was the 2-0 Scottish Cup victory on the 11th of January 2009. Correct, isn't it?
The one.
There we go. Right, Kev, you're taking over the duties of Guinness a wee quiz, so to speak, this week, since Shanks can't be arsed coming on the pod anymore. Go for it, Kev. You set it up. Talk us through what your quiz is and what we're looking for this week.
No worries. So A nice and simple quiz. I've got 5 players. I have 5 facts given to me by London Hearts, by the way. So thanks very much, guys, for the data. I will give you each of the 5 facts, and I'll simply go around the room asking for answers to who this particular individual may be. I've also got one for the socials, which we will try and put out in the socials this week. Likelihood is it'll not happen because we always forget. So from that point,
not that we forget, we don't care.
well, there is that. There is that. So player number 1 was born on May 1969. He was with the club for a total of 5 seasons. Scored 34 goals across those seasons. Sent off once in his Hearts career. And to make it easy for you, Tam, his greatest goal was scored at Parkhead. Okay.
Okay. Easy
Good.
for me.
Yep.
I was
good.
hoping these facts would be like, he's a shagger. He went up Tynecastle Arms and done something bad.
That's next week's show, mate.
Air Force Ones.
Players Air Force Ones. Fuck's sake. So that's player number 1. Player number 2, a tricky little player. Signed with Benfica early in his career. Scored 16 times for Hearts, but he's always a fan favourite when he returns to the club for the half-time draw. Both his sons are footballer, but simply haven't been great. And his goal in the final seconds of a game at Tiny will always live in the memory.
Cool.
Fuck's sake, Tam.
Are we doing it player by player? Because if you've got 5 players with all these facts, I'm not going to remember who you're talking about. I can't even remember what you said for the first one.
So you're writing them down? Fuck's sake, Corbett.
I don't care enough. I'm not writing that down.
All right, in that case, we'll go back to player number 1. Right. So I will go to Corbett for first dibs. Who is player number 1?
What did you say? He was born in 1969?
Aye.
And his famous goal happened to Stefan Adam.
So you're going for Stefan Adam.
Is my
Tam?
Yes. 11 would make
5 seasons though. Is it damn 5 seasons?
Tell me, Tam. Who are you going for?
1. Take me 1990. Aye. Stefan Adam. That's my guess.
I'll go Colin Cameron.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I'm with Tam. I went Colin Cameron.
Okay, so we've got 2 wrong answers, 1 right answer. Well done, Corbett. So Stefan Adam, there you go.
He's born in 1969. Holy shit.
Right,
mate,
that took me ages to figure out that I got that right. When they took the same answer, and I was like, "That's me."
Hey, mate, it is 11:15 on a Thursday night. I'll let you off. So player 2 was a tricky little winger, signed with Benfica early in his career, started 16 times for Hearts, but will always be a firm favourite when he returns to the club at half-time draw. Both his sons are footballers, but simply haven't made it. And his goal in the final seconds of the game at Tiny will always live long in the memory. So I will go to Tam for this one. Tam, who you got? I think this is would it be your early days?
He very famously said his uncle was eaten by a lion.
That's right, so he did.
That's took me even further off it. I don't know. I'm tapping it. I wrote down Bruno Aguiar just because you said Benfica, but
cool.
Yeah, he's not a tricky winger. And
no, that's fine. Yeah. It's fine. Ando?
No, I don't have a clue, man. The whole uncle getting eaten by a lion thing would make me think he's from continental Africa, because that's where lions come from. But I don't know. I genuinely couldn't tell you. No idea.
Disappointed. I thought you would get that one, Ando. Corbett, you've got it because I know you.
It's Jose Katongo.
It is Jose Katongo. Jose Katongo. So I will tell you all that it's getting tougher as it gets towards the end. So Tam and Ando, you've got absolutely no fucking chance. Mm-hmm. So player number 3, possibly the best Slovak ever to play for the club. Amazingly, the tough tackler cost us £500,000. Never even thought he was that much. Recognised at international level, playing 52 games for his country. Played 72 games for Hearts, scoring 6 times. He was freed in July of 2002 due to injury, which caused him to retire. So I will go to Ando first because I think Ando might actually have the right answer here.
No, because you said he got forced out in 2002. The guy I was thinking of when you said he was Slovak, and this guy isn't even Slovak. I've made a complete fucking knob of this. I had Bislija because you said £500,000 because I remember us paying a lot for him. I can't remember where it came from.
I believe this
Bosnia
man's
maybe.
a friend of the podcast, isn't he? He's featured heavily in some of our quizzes as the answer.
Was it Ismail Bouzid?
No.
No, it's
No,
not
it was
that.
2002.
Oh,
So,
shit.
Tam, who have you got?
No idea.
We are rubbish fans.
Corbett, to keep this whole period of the game going, tell us who it is.
I think it's Robert Tomaszek, is it?
It is Robert Tomaszek.
Oh, mother. That's right. He's from Slovakia.
And the final one for you guys tonight, and I think this could be the hardest one. So, Tam, you've got no chance. Ando, you should, because you were at the game that I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
So, one of the best young players to come through at Tynecastle. Played over 180 games for the famous, scoring a total only of 9 goals from defence. He nearly killed Olaf Thom in the game against Bayern Munich, which still goes down as one of the... I still don't understand how he never got booked, but anyway. Sold for £2 million. He had to retire from the game due to injury, but still makes the odd appearance for the Hearts legends.
Who did you say he nearly killed?
Olaf Thom.
In the Bayern Munich game.
In the Bayern Munich game.
So a defender in the Bayern Munich game. Wow,
There you go. So I'll go to Tam first because we know perfectly well that Tam will have no fucking idea who it is. Tam, who is it?
Tosh McKinley.
Okay, cool. So Tam was going for Tosh McKinley.
I know it's wrong. I'm just guessing defenders around that time. Might be way
Corbett.
off.
My educated guess would be Alan McLaren.
Ando?
It's Alan McLaren or Craig Levine.
So which one are you going with?
We never sold him.
We never sold Craig.
Oh, shit. No, we didn't. We sold Alan McLaren to Rangers. It's Alan McLaren.
Correct, gentlemen. It is Alan McLaren. Which means
Sorry,
we have
I forgot about the £2 million thing.
Aye.
Bad.
Clean sweep for Mr. Corbett.
Thank you.
Did my guy even play in that game?
Who did you say?
Tosh
Tosh
McKinley.
McKinley. Came for Celtic, did he not?
No, he didn't. He didn't play in that game.
Oh.
He came for Dundee, but he came for Dundee after that particular match, I'm sure.
Aye.
Because Alan McLaren played right back that night. Remember really?
Right, Kev, for the social medias, give us the one for the social medias.
For the social medias that we'll never put up and nobody really cares, it's born in London in 1994.
Oh, see, this is one I could get.
And played for the club in 184 games, scoring a total of 41 goals. Sent off just before an absolute worldie. Moved away from the club, but many would like him to return. And his dance moves are straight out of Saturday Night Fever. So that's the one for the socials. So, hit us up through any channels. More likely it will be Twitter, but we'll wait and hear what the guys have to say out there in listener world.
I loved Callum Elliott, man. Right, predictor.
The London thing's thrown me off there.
I knew that was going to throw you off.
Yeah,
it won't throw off the listeners because they've got common sense and actually know what they're talking about.
And wise.
Yes, very true. Right, predictor for last week, Ando. We must have had a couple of correct scores across the board for the podcast, as we were. All of us were pretty sure none of us were going to win.
Correct. So you can look at a few people and get a full clean sweep of 7 points. You're one of them, because you correctly predicted the scoreline and the Hearts player to be sent off. So there's been a few changes at well, not so much at the top because Brad's is still ahead by 6 points. He's on 39. Then Jay Walkett, 94, which I actually know is Jay Walker, 94. He's on 33. Scotty Baxter,
Jamie
32.
Walker.
I don't know if his first name's Jamie, mate. It doesn't matter. No one cares. Andy Dixon, 4th on 32. Jamie Devlin, 31. Corbett, you are up to the heady heights of 6th place. And then I'm right up your arsehole in 8th place.
Yeah, that's what I like it.
Well, I'm used to it. Kev in 11th place on 26. My missus in 18th place, and Tam way down in lowly 23. I'll just do a search for Shanks. He hasn't improved his position at all. Still rooted in 81st place on 4 points. Absolute melt that he is. So, obviously, by the time you hear this, the predictor entries will be open for this Saturday's match against Dundee United. I have decided to do, I know I've done a big build-up for it for the Dundee game because I was expecting Dundee to get shagged. We are going to do a double bubble this weekend, so you can pick up to 3 players to score a goal in the match versus Dundee United. If they score multiple goals, you'll get multiple points. So there's a points bonanza again this weekend. A bit like the shagging bonanza we had last weekend. But this is a points bonanza. Entries are open for you now. So it's thisismystory.uk/predictor and get your entries in before 5 to 3 on Saturday. There you go.
Nice. I'm almost certain Shanks doesn't even enter scores, if I'm being honest with you. He just must not play the game because nobody can be that terrible at guessing. I know he said Paul Hartley would be the manager by now, but still, it's quite remarkable how terrible he is at predicting Hearts games.
Yeah, we all know that he just spends most of his waking life documenting his life on Snapchat, usually involving photos of his mum, and that sadly isn't even a lie. So yeah, that's why he doesn't probably predict. But I will make sure he does it this weekend.
What's that you're opening now, Ando?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Kev. This is one of my 3 out of 8 cans of craft beers that I just got from Beer 52.
Beer 52? Never heard of them. How did you get involved in that?
Well, I went to beer52.com/my story, and all I paid was £5.95 to cover the postage and packaging, and I'm now part of Beer 52, which is the world's largest beer club. And one of the benefits of that is that each month members like me are sent a case with a different theme.
I've been a member for a few months as well. I've had beers for all over the place. Like past themes have included like Belgium, Korea, California, New Zealand, Germany, Melbourne. Like I've had a beer for Arno Zoom, Daniel Stendhal, Perry Kitchen, Patrick Osnorbo. It's been class.
Does sound interesting. Anything else you get with it?
Yeah, aye. So it comes with a magazine and 2 snacks every month. And guess what? You don't like dark beer? Then choose the light option. Plus, you can pause or cancel at any time. All you need to do is go to beer52.com/my story. And as I say, pay the $5.95 postage to get all of this right now.
Sounds good.
Like a class deal to me.
Aye, it does sound good. We got that on the website?
Yes, we do. So check it out, beer52.com/my story.
Magic. I can look at that later on tonight.
Right, headlines for the week. Obviously, you know our rules on this podcast about talking about Scotland, but I thought it'd be a good starting point to obviously Suter again has been missed out for the Scotland squad. Again, my opinions are round the table. Do we think it can only be a good thing for us in terms of, for me anyway, it puts him out of the shot window, so to speak, because obviously we're desperate for him to sign a contract extension with us, and I think a few games on the international stage and you can almost kiss that possibility goodbye because he's caviar. So what are you thinking, Tam, as the resident wanker that likes Scotland?
As we said last time, being brutally selfish, it can only be a good thing in terms of him not getting injured or that. Feel bad for him because he's more than deserving of a place ahead of fucking Scott McKenna for one. I don't know. He should be in the squad, but at the end of the day, it should probably put him in cotton wool for this week, leave him again so he doesn't get a knock, which is only a good thing.
And to be fair, he did himself no harm with his absolutely horrendous performance on Saturday. Do you reckon if any suitors were watching him on Saturday, they'll have been fucking. They just went straight back down the road because.
Sure, his mum and dad were watching him, man. But
yeah, good on Tam. That was nice of you, mate. Like that was good. Kev, what's your thoughts on it in terms of no, we don't care about the Scotland aspect, just from a Hearts perspective.
If it means that we've can maybe give him a bit of rest, maybe that's what he needs. I don't know. I'm just quite happy to see him ideally sign a new contract in January, and he stays with the club. Even if it was signed in or placed in the contract that should a team come in and offer X money, then he can go and speak to them. I'm fine with that.
Well, as soon as he signs the contract, he can play for Scotland as much as he wants, because the more he plays for Scotland, the more zeros we get in the end of his 100 million transfer fee that we undoubtedly get from when he's sold. That's correct, isn't it, Ando?
More or less, aye. Exactly echo that sentiment. If he is going to play out his skin, I want him to play out his skin in the Gorgie jersey. Sign that new contract. We'll give him a wee kick up. It protects our interest, and then see after that if he gets chosen for Scotland, fine. As you say, it's just adding the extra zeros on. I'd be all for it. But yeah, I'm delighted. I'm delighted from a Hearts point of view. Personally, I think for him it's going to be a right kick in the fanny. But then it's a sore one for him. But ultimately, fuck it. It's a team game, and he has to take these things in the chin.
That's very true. Right, some decent stuff that was coming at Hearts this week as well was the Tam. You've got one on right now. Is that a collab top, or is that? Did you buy that off somebody?
no, that's just for the club shop. I think it was I can't mind the name of them, but they do loads of them in GD Sports and stuff like that, or the international ones. But this was from the club shop.
So the club this week announced that for the next 12 months, they're going to bring out what's the company called?
Is it Score Draw?
That's what I've got on as Score Draw. It's different from that.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The professional outfit that we are, maybe one of us probably potentially should have looked into that now. But anyway,
just carry on the chat. I'll come back with it in 5
whatever
minutes.
Just do a Steve Banks moment and just fire the company name over the top of us talking. But we announced this week that we're doing this collab where we're going to bring out 12 basically retro Hearts tops over the next 12 months type thing, and the first one up is the Inter Milan jersey,
and that'll be in collaboration with The Terrace Life.
There we
Fantastic.
go.
There you go, mate.
Slick as fuck, huh?
There you go, There you go. And you were worried about folks saying we've got so much bigger things to worry about than that, don't we? So might as well just quickly round the table. What you hoping to see? Obviously, Inter Milan one is pretty bog standard, isn't it? We knew we would get that one. It's one of the most requested tops that you'll find in terms of collaborations or folk try to buy like old match worn ones and stuff like that. So Tam, what one you hoping to see?
I'd like the ones around my birthday year, like the 91, 92 or the 92, 93, where it's with the wee Hearts badges on the background of the top.
Miller Homes
I think they're class. Miller Homes or the Strongbow. I think it went from one to the other basically with a new sponsor, but I quite like those ones myself.
Or you could say, if you were a professional, you could say our background, our logo, that top. Like
yes.
That one, the one where we got the inspiration. Remember how we got the inspiration for those logos?
Mm-hmm.
Aye, it was like made by Admiral or something. And,
there you go.
That
one. See, I like those.
Fuck's sake, Tam.
The white one and the maroon one are class, but it's the grey one or sky blue, whatever. See that picture of the dressing that always shows up on Twitter and folk. Do you see this? Is it gold or is it blue? That's what it's like with that thing. It's either sky blue or it's grey. The Miller Homes, the third kit that came with that set, that is an absolute beastie. I hope that if we do a collab and we do that one, that we actually make it better than the one that Brad sometimes wears on this, the pure weird looking thing. Kev, what about you? What you hoping for?
There's two I'm hoping for. The first would be the season of 86-87, the away shirt, which was just plain white with the band round the middle. It was mitre. was the sponsor. And the other one that I'm really hoping for is the 1988 to 1990 booked at away shirt, which was the really thin candy stripe. I know you love a candy stripe top, Corbett, especially the one that's behind you. Aye, exactly that one, which I've actually just brought up. So yeah, don't know if that can come up on the screen.
That looks great, Kev.
There you go.
There you go,
So for that point of view,
Ian Ferguson top. That always reminds me of Ian Ferguson. I don't know
see,
why.
I get Scott Crab every time I see that. Yeah, it's Scott Crab.
Fair. Ando, what are you hoping for?
So one of the ones that's just over your right shoulder. So the blue and white and the maroon pinstripe, that absolute beauty there, right? If they make that, I will buy 100 of them, and I will be buried in that top when I die. I think it is absolutely beautiful. Another one that's behind you, bizarrely, although I can never buy it, is the yellow pony top, because if I bought that, the state I'm in just now look like fucking Big Bird out of Sesame Street. There's no danger I could wear that. But I also quite like them. It's going back to the mid '90s. It was I think it's probably one of the first Strongbow tops, but it's basically it's two-tone maroon, but it looks like it's got paint stripes across it.
The one that's on the inside of the new main stand.
Yeah. Yes, exactly that. And then the collar bit, like the button fasteners, had had a proper collar on it and a white piece that came down that had the buttons on it. It just looks cool. I don't know what year it is. It'll be mid '90s, but it's not on your wall there. Something like that. That's my three. And actually, curiously enough, I was talking to the missus last night on the couch. I was like, "Oh, check out this fucking Hearts top that they've released." Is you keep speaking about this? This is the Inter Milan one, because she actually listens to this stuff, believe it or not. And she's like, "They've got you over a fucking barrel, haven't they?" Yes, they have. And she's like, "Right, are you just putting them all on your Christmas list or what? Because like it's a 40 quid per month top for 12 months. It's like, right, that's another money. Season ticket that you've bought." I was like, "I know. What can I say? I'm powerless. I will probably buy all of them, but because that's just the kind of dickhead that I am." But excellent market employed from Hearts. Very well done.
Aye, that's the candy stripe one that's behind me is the greatest Hearts top that's ever been made. I'll absolutely happily get that top.
The Essex tops were good.
I love that top. Aye, there's this one. We did a plain white away top that was the same pony Strongbow, but it had the short. We wore it with the shorts for that one, and that one's pretty class as well. It's just to play my own. Or I do really like.
That'd be great for the audio listeners, but it's cool.
Aye, exactly. Exactly.
This is a good one for anyone that's listening on the audio. Head over to YouTube, smash that like and subscribe button, and watch our beautiful faces on the channel. There you go.
And I like not that yellow one, but the Kevin Thompson yellow one that we wore like twice against Rafe Rovers or something like that in like 1994. It's a third kit.
Aye, that's the one that looks like infection yellow, right? Aye. Like that. As disgusting as that actually is, and you and I will disagree on this one. I can't wear that one because the one behind you, because I'd look like Big Bird, as I've already covered, and I can't wear the other one because I would just look like a walking bag of pus, even more than I already do. So no, I don't like that one. It's not up there for me.
I like it with the maroon Strongbow, and I like it the way it's got the maroon numbers on it. It looks good with the yellow. Right, well that's cool. Like you said, 12 times 40, Tam, is what?
Are you kidding me?
Numbers.
It's 480, right?
Cool.
For fuck's sake! Did you even bother going to school, Tam?
It's fine. Let's have a different podcast to dive into that kettle of fish. But basically, that's what the club have signed us up to, innit? £480 each, plus £480 for our season ticket, plus £480 that we pay at the Foundation of Hearts. Fantastic. There we go. But I'm happy for it. Right, to matters of a more serious nature, hundreds of bites because we dared ask what was happening with the Hibs situation, which has been fun to see. But what the fuck is happening with the Hibs situation? Have they got officially had 2 games postponed now? because they don't have enough players to play any matches. So it shouldn't shock us because it's the SPFL and the SFA that run the shit show that is Scottish football. But what's happening there? Kev, you're the voice of reason normally, or semi-sensible on here. What's your understanding of the rules and why do we not have a protocol in place?
Well, let's touch on the last question there. Why do we not have a protocol in place? I think you answered your own question, because we have the SFA and the SPFL running this absolute shit show. So that would be the first point. My understanding of the rules is that they have to have 18 players, or 18 players, 17 of which have to be outfield and over the age of 18,
Right.
before they are able, to actually clarify that they are a professional organisation that can fulfil an actual fixture against Ross County. So yeah, not quite sure what the reasons are behind it. I mean, must be some form of infestation down at the East Lothian training ground. I don't know, but the whole thing's an absolute shit show.
My understanding, they only had 6 players that weren't either having to isolate or tested positive.
They basically had
Negative, sorry.
24 people, as what the rumour is, were either close contacts or had COVID themselves.
The whole thing about it, though, is just the fact that earlier on in the season, League Cup games were automatically awarded. The other team were awarded a 3-0 victory.
Yep, which resulted in us being unseeded. Yep. Although we should have done more against Cali Thistle, but still, yep. St Mirren, for example, got to be seeded when they get two 3-0 results because teams that were playing
Falkirk and somebody else. It's farcical, absolutely farcical. But I did. I don't even know what the CEO's name actually is, but I did find it rather amusing, but also at the same time slightly irritating, and I did form into a rage the other night there when he turned around and said about sporting integrity. Well, I'm sorry, sir. You can stick your sporting integrity right up your hoop.
Where have we heard that before? I know.
Exactly.
If only another football club were banging on about sporting integrity, it would maybe be further down the road. Ando, what's your thought? Before we dive into Ando, what you were going to say, obviously, we didn't want anybody to be actual ill, like rivalry aside or whatever. People, we hope that nobody is actually physically, properly ill, obviously. But still, why do we not have protocols for this type of stuff? This is going to happen, innit? We're coming into winter. We're coming into peak outbreak season for a professional league like what we are and the size that we are. Surely there needs to be some form of rules, don't there?
Well, we do have rules, as Kev's already outlined. He's declared exactly what the rules are. But the bit for me that really winds me up is that I feel like Hibs have used this as an opportunity. So what they've done is they've got a couple of there's a couple of things on this. Number one, if they don't have that amount of players to be able to fulfill that match day squad when umpteen people are off ill, then that just shows how tin pot they actually are. That's point number one. And point number two, I have full confidence that all the wee Hibs junior players have been told to get off with each other, so they spread it into place, so that they can actually use this time to, I don't know, develop a strategy to win football games. It seems like a Jack Ross ploy. Tinfoil hat, back off.
Well, it does. So the rules that Kev alluded to I think, are only specific to the League Cup. I don't think they're the rules for the league. They are the protocols that are in place for the League Cup matches. I don't know, are they two different jurisdictions? Do the SFA look after the League Cup, or do the SPFL look after the League Cup? Why is it
SPFL?
The clues in the title is the League Cup, SPFL look after that. SFA only look after the Scottish Cup.
So
I can devil's advocate here if you want to use our favourite phrase, but I think it's down to fixture rearrangement. The League Cup's only got a certain amount of days that it can be played in or whatever. The SPFL, in true SPFL fashion, absolutely fucked it last year when they awarded St Mirren and Kilmarnock, the teams they were playing, 3-0 victories, and then overturned them and then got them replayed. So it's always going to come down to replay this season, because they massively fucked it up last year. And that's pretty much it. They've got no rules because they've say there's enough days in the year to get these fixtures played. But if Hibs have another outbreak, what happens essentially?
Well, I think, like you said, we'll play our devil's advocate, your devil's advocate, because it's what we like to do in here, right? Obviously, this thing could happen at Hearts. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, Hearts could have an outbreak, and we'd be sitting here saying, "You can't make us play the under-17s" and all that sort of stuff. Again, we'll just reiterate it because it's a common theme since episode 1 when we were talking about French leagues. Why the fuck are the people that are in charge of our game still in charge of our game? Why? What do they need today? We've had the league not have a sponsor, cups not have a sponsor. We've had demotions with 24 points left on the table. We've had 8 3/4 awarded. We've had outbreaks. We've had you name it. We've got it, and yet still nobody. There is no pressure to get the absolute nutcases out of our game, which is mental. Kev, before we move on, you highlighted it there. The interview with whatever he's called, I don't even know what his name is. The Hibs CEO was absolute comedy gold, wasn't it?
It was beautiful to watch. If it was a cartoon, I genuinely believe that come the end of the cartoon, his head would have just exploded. And then you would have like flipping Roadrunner or something like that just pop up at the end, go beep beep, and then piss off. It was honestly brilliant. So yeah, highly recommend anybody who's not watched it to go and see it.
Aye, Tam, you've not watched it. I would thoroughly go and have a wee look at it. He blames Rangers fans because obviously someone has reported Hibs to the SPFL or SFA because Hibs players were in the hotel and they weren't wearing their face masks. Which was comedy gold, which was really funny. Again, like we talked to Stevie Jukes about when he was on the podcast, this weird rivalry that Hibs think they have with Rangers is just strange and weird. Kev?
I'm just wondering if we should do a wee Twitter poll of which particular CEO stroke chairman actually blew up the best. Either the guy for Hibs, that we can't mind his name, or the boy Cormac, whatever his name is, at Aberdeen.
Well, to be fair to Dave McCormack, since he went on Sports Sound and basically said that we were going to turn it round, they have beat Hibs, beat Hearts, and drew with Rangers. So we look like the ones with egg in our face because it absolutely has not backfired. It's spectacularly G'd his team up, which will come on to his team in a little while. But let's talk about something that's old and that is beautiful.
Just to end that sort of topic, I'd just like to say get up to every single Hibs fan that travelled up on Saturday, then took a half day for Wednesday, bought their tickets, and for it to be cancelled again. It's utterly pleasing.
That sounds like something personal. Do you know someone that's in that situation and you're reaching out quietly to stick it right up them?
Being the absolute internet shite bag that you are, you said it on a podcast and not his face.
There might be a wee hint in there. I obviously can clip this entire part of the video and send it directly to somebody.
Make yourself sound harder than you actually.
No, you don't need to do that. I'm absolutely all for it. I would just like you to declare your shithousery to everyone listening.
There isn't anyone in particular. It's just Hibs as an entity, basically.
Fair.
And you shat all over my funny joke.
I know, sorry.
Of the statement my father wore, which brings us on to our last comment of the Andy Halliday PA session that we had at Tynecastle for the open day on Sunday. Weird, wasn't it?
Class. No, this is what happens when you drink Tennent's lager through a Balenciaga trainer when there's some people in the stadium trying to get a nice wee tour, and you plug your iPhone into the PA system. Well done, Andy.
As people that have greatly benefited from the tin pottery of the football club and its assemblement, sometimes now we all have Wi-Fi when we go to Hearts games due to the fact that when we were in, they just left the passwords kicking about. So what's happened is, obviously what's happened is somebody's just walked up to the bit where Scott Wilson seems to be sitting about and just fired the Spotify on, whilst the stadium is full of families and pledgers.
I I heard
It's a-
somebody asked Alexa to play Sash Ecuador, and she just got it wrong. But
That's what came on, was it? I liked my Twitter exchange where I said where I reached out to the guy to say, were you at that thing? Because this guy that's claiming it seems really dodgy and really Celtic minded, and he messaged me back saying, "Aye, that's my da." That's it. All right, okay, then I take your word for it then. So, but aye, the best thing about it, obviously, we all know we're all adults. So it shouldn't have been played. It's stupid, and the club apologised. They shouldn't have had to, but they did. They did the right thing. They could have claimed it didn't happen and all the type of stuff that Celtic and Rangers would have did. But the funniest thing about it was just how upset it's made Celtic fans. And for that and that alone, I'm all for it. I hope it happens every Sunday because it's funny.
I also have to question why there was a Celtic da in a Hearts stadium tour. Like I get that.
It was just me. It was just me interpreting what people do. I was doing my Columbo and I was looking through some of his likes and his tweets, and they seemed very Celtic minded. But then I've looked through Tam's tweets and they all seem very Celtic minded as well. So it's hard to connect the dots, isn't it? Wonder if it's maybe a team thing. So Andy Halliday had this Sunday. I wonder who will get next Sunday.
Ooh,
John Souttar, maybe he's into some weird political stuff. I wonder what political songs John Souttar would play. Let's do that at a different time though. That can be for a different podcast.
Answers on a postcard.
Maybe we'll make it into a quiz. maybe we'll make it into a feature. What political songs would John Souttar enjoy? Right. We'll do Aberdeen first, and we'll do the down quiz at the end for a wee bit of banter, right? Because we might as well get in. We might as well get into the seriousness of what the podcast is all about. So Saturday, Hearts' unbeaten start to the league season, ended in spectacular Hearts fashion. Absolutely the worst performance of the season. Again, I think I count that now as what? Ross County, Dundee, Aberdeen. Did we take the lead against St Johnstone? No, we didn't take the lead against St Johnstone. But it's been
battered them, to be fair.
It's been 3 or 4 times now this season where we have lost points from winning positions. Again, so anybody want to take a stab at their thoughts, or do you want me to tee up my thoughts first and then you can tell me if you echo what I'd said on Twitter, as you'll have seen. Saturday felt like the first time this season. Now, we've praised Robbie Nielsen to the hilt on here, and we will continue to do so. 1 defeat in 12, sitting third. Not a lot, like drawn with Rangers at Ibrox and beating Celtic at home. We've had a great start to the season. There's absolutely no denying that. Praise the fact that this is the first Hearts side for ages, that I feel like I totally and utterly understand what they're trying to do. They have a game plan, they have a style, they have a bit of character, a bit of bottle about them. They play with a smile on their face, but they absolutely grind and they've got each other's back. They totally get what it is to play for Hearts. Saturday is the first time for ages, and you got a bit of it against St Johnstone as well, where I felt like we've tinkered, made changes, focused a little bit more on the opposition themselves, all because Boyce has picked up an injury. You know, if you look back to the Craig Levein start, we're 8 unbeaten. Stephen Naismith goes off in the semi-final. The arse falls out our season because we started to just worry about, well, how do we, we're maybe light at this area of the park or that area of the park. We need to do this to combat it, and they're strong here, and we worry about the team. We've seen that for me on Saturday. We've brought in Gary Mackay-Steven because he's a bit more defensive minded. He could potentially track back more, but more importantly than that, we've actually took Barry Mackay out of the team, who for me has been, outside of Boyce, the most creative player in the team since he joined and started playing with a club. I found that very strange. And again, the relationships between, like, all right, Woodburn and Mackay haven't scored yet, but Woodburn is one of those players that he's a goal away from being probably one of our best players. He's creative, he's intelligent, he just needs a goal. Same with Barry Mackay. But the relationships that, for example, Barry Mackay and Mikey Smith have built up, Cochrane and Woodburn have built up. We've changed that and we've tinkered that. Do you know what I mean? Like Andy Halliday came in against St Johnstone. Cochrane comes back in against Aberdeen. Barry Mackay drops out. Gary Mackay-Steven comes in there. Josh Ginnelly's came in now. It just felt like we were disjointed. And it's the first time this season I've watched Hearts and felt like I don't know what we're trying to do. Do you know what I mean? We weren't fully focused on stopping Aberdeen. We weren't fully focused on being ourselves. We were trying to do both, and they just, second half especially, they just railroaded us. It was a body in. There was no arguments. We didn't even look like getting in and out of the match. And to be honest, we're lucky that it finished 2-1. Thoughts, Ando? You watched the game on Saturday, didn't you? You watched it on the TV thing. So what was your thoughts on it?
So a couple of bits for me was that match for me highlighted deficiencies up front, like very, very starkly. Like, I know obviously my best mate Boyce is injured just now, and it remains to be seen whether he'll be back on Saturday. I don't know if that's something we'll speak about later or whatever. But without him in the team, it's not just his goals return; it's everything else that he does up front. It's the running around, picking up scraps. How often is he back in midfield and even defending? Sometimes we miss him so badly. And it is absolutely glaringly obvious to see how deficient we are in the final third, or even the final 2/3 of the pitch when he doesn't play. Another thing that I hadn't even really thought about until I heard Tom English speak about it the other night, which is the lack of goals from our midfield. So it's one in the same point. Obviously, we're relying on Boyce for quite a lot of our goal return. If we look at where we are in the league versus where we could have been, if we'd had players that had been firing on all cylinders, and as you rightly point out, Woodburn, Mackay, Devlin, they're maybe just a goal away from lighting the fucking league up, and kicking on and going absolutely mental. But that absolutely needs to start happening. So the conversations for me this week should have been all about midfielders. You need to start lighting this thing up. The wheels are not off the wagon for me. I think we're still absolutely fine, as you rightly say. Third after 12 games, only been beaten once. Asked me at the start of the season if I'd be happy with that. I would have absolutely bit your hand off for it. So I'm not worried, but I think there are things that we do need to address, which is our deficiencies up front and our lack of goals for midfield.
Well, like you said, we're 12 games in, and I think we've officially scored 18 league goals. Yeah, so do you know what I mean? Like, and you take that we scored 3 against Livingston, you take them out as in one game, then it's quite easy to see, and that's what we pulled the stats during the week and put them on Twitter, was the fact that there was a noticeable drop off. I think we created 5 chances on Saturday. We only had 1 shot on target, and that was the goal. Do you know what I mean? Like, so straight away you look at that, and then you look at the actual drop, and we'd been averaging like 11 attempts on goal a game, 5 or 6 shots on target. Our pass completion was better, shot accuracy was better, all that type of stuff. We just, for me, Saturday was the outlier, not the sort of. It was one that just stuck out as being a poor performance, and I highlighted that as well. And it's not just specifically go after Nando to say that Nando's no good or whatever. Nando's got his bits. He offers different things to the team, but the one thing that Ando's absolutely right, that makes the biggest difference to Hearts in the system that we play, is work rate, and you're just never going to get that from Nando. Do you know what I mean? Boyce will run himself into the ground. He'll constantly be on the shoulder. He'll constantly press. He'll constantly make the back 3 or 4, whoever he's up against, think. Nando doesn't. Nando floats, he waits, and then he sort of tries to get involved when we're in that area of the park. And on Saturday, we just didn't get to that area of the park. And that was highlighted in the second half when Aberdeen were playing a back 3 that had Scott Brown in it. They knew Gino didn't cause them any bother. Gary Mackay-Steven didn't cause them any bother, and Nando wasn't making them causing them any bother. Stephen Glass moved Brown into the midfield, went to a back 4, and we couldn't deal with the fact that they were just overloaded and overpowering us in the midfield. And the only reason they made that substitution or made that tactical change was because we didn't impact the Aberdeen backline at all. We put them under no pressure whatsoever, and Stephen Glass was like, "It's fine. We can go to having just two at the back because this big guy up front isn't causing us any hassle." And
The cart
that's
horse.
it's a bit of a worry. Do you know what I mean? That's a bit of a worry. It's the thing at the start of the end of the transfer window we were the most worried about was we'd had great business, and we have had great business. We've seen it all over the park, but our inability to bring in just a different option up front has kind of cost us. So, and again, remember, Boyce has been out for 2 weeks. It's a big ask to ask him to come back in on Saturday and impact the game. Do you know what I mean? And make a big difference. Saturday, what did you like? No like? What was your thoughts overall?
To be honest with you, like, I know we're going on about the Hearts in the final third, but there's barely a player that I give pass marks to across the field. Like, we lost the midfield battle. Benny and Devlin had their worst game in a Hearts shirt. The wing backs were ineffective. And defensively, at times, we just looked all over the place. I don't know what it was, but it was just one of those performances where nothing clicked. And hopefully it's just as you say, a bump in the road, and we're straight back to our usual play on Saturday. But it was quite concerning to see everything flowing for 12 weeks straight, and then that performance, it wasn't great at all.
Okay, and we have to fight. Craig Halkett's had a bad week. He was pretty shaky and ropey in Perth, opening 20 minutes, and then comical defending. The Craig Gordon save for Ramirez is outstanding, but what on earth is the defending?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's hard because, again, like Robbie Nielsen, Craig Halkett has been Mr. Dependable all season long. You know what I mean? He's like everybody. He has maybe a dip for 10 minutes in a game here or there, but he's been pretty rock solid throughout. His partnership with Suter and his partnership with Kingsley has looked mightily impressive on the whole. But it's like anything. I suppose it's why they're at Hearts in it, and it's why we support Hearts. When they're good, they're good. When they're bad, they're pretty bad. And when Craig Halkett's bad, he's really pretty bad. Especially when we've got Taylor Moore as well. Again, and this happens in football. Whoever's sitting on the bench when you play bad becomes the best player in the team because he's not playing. But when I have seen Taylor Moore, he has looked very reliable. Do you know what I mean? You look at the Motherwell games, you look at the Livingston game at home. John Suter missed them both, didn't he? And I think Taylor Moore came in and deputised for Suter being out and never really put a foot wrong. And again, we've highlighted it all over the park. Gary Mackay-Steven never done enough at Pittodrie on Saturday. I fully expect him to drop out of the team because that's how it works.
Yep. Then
the same has to be said for the guys at the back. Halkett can't keep being given chances and making mistakes. Do you know what I mean? That if the system works, then if he's going to make mistakes, he's going to have to expect to be Taylor Moore.
Just going to put it out there though, he will be playing on Saturday. He'll be in that starting lineup. I can't see him being dropped.
Absolutely. But again, it's like you said, if he puts in a stinker performance on Saturday, then you're starting to say, right, well, the pressure is on Robbie now to make the decision, and it's a big decision. I've said it before and I'll say it again. There's something about Craig Halkett that I want to be successful at Hearts. I like him. There's bits about him I really like. He seems like a Hearts player. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want him to do well, but I also want Hearts to be good. I mean, I want Hearts to win. The thing that was most annoying about Saturday was Aberdeen didn't do anything special to beat us. They had more energy than us. They looked like they wanted it more. They were up for it more. That's 2 games in a row now against Aberdeen where we have made Scott Brown look like Iniesta. Do you know what I mean? And all he does is puffs his chest out, doesn't shit out of challenges and runs about a lot. Everything, an easier way, everything Gary Mackay-Steven does today is what Scott Brown does. Do you know what I mean? He fills his pants, shits himself, and then tries to hide. So, but that was pretty disappointing. You're right. I think I said this something on Twitter. The worst parts of this system that we're playing right now were on show on Saturday. With the wing backs, with Smith and Cochrane, we play 7 defensively minded players at the back. When your front 3 aren't at it, that puts huge pressure on you. Do you know what I mean? You've got no creating. But you can't ignore that when it works and it's flowing and Hearts are flowing and we're creating stuff, the football's brilliant to watch. It's expansive, it's attacking, it's progressive. So, you folk are saying, go back to 4-2-3-1, and it's like, no. Do you know how often we have argued about this? I don't want to see that, I think. I don't want to see that anymore. So, I'm with you, Ando, as well. I'll be very shocked if the wheels have fallen off the wagon after Saturday's performance. I'm hoping that it is just a bump in the road and that we get ourselves sorted out. I would like us to go back to our strongest starting 11 for me, which is Gordon, Kingsley, Suter, Halkett, Cochrane, Smith, Devlin, Benny, Mackay, Woodburn, and Boyce. That's where we've looked at our best. It's where we've looked at our strongest. Potentially Gino for Woodburn would be my only thing, but again, Gino has to produce. All right, yeah, he won the penalty and he scored against St Johnstone, but it's fits and starts with him. We need somebody consistent. Like we need the sort of the mirrored performance on the other side that Mackay gives us. So that would be what I'd hope for. Before we move on to Dundee, all right, when you go on though.
No, I was going to say I don't know if there's obviously having watched the last 3 or 4 games, Gino looks like he's been battered about a little bit. If you know what I mean, it's like there have been times in games where he's been down injured and he's stayed down for a wee while. He looks like he's struggled a little bit. So I don't know if that's maybe a factor. Obviously, he has played well to the points you just made about obviously goal, winning the penalty, and all that sort of stuff. But then I don't know. For me, he seems to have been kicked about the place quite a lot in the last 3 or 4 matches. Maybe he sits out this week. I don't know. Just got a feeling it will happen.
So that's actually why he came off last week against St Johnstone. I think he came off after about 70 minutes or something like that last week because he had been kicked about.
Battered about the fucking place.
He wasn't happy at coming off it, and I love that. I love it when a player's not happy to come off a park. But it looked like it was just a case of we'll just take you off just for the point of view of
you.
Correct.
Exactly. Yeah.
So before we move past Saturday, we can talk about obviously Andy Halliday get a straight red card last minute of the match. Anybody, was it a red card? No red card? What's your thoughts on it? It's been contentious. So Tam, what's your thoughts on it?
I'm quite adamant about this. That's never a red card. 100%. Like, you see those challenges week in, week out, and it's a yellow at the most. I know he's dived in. He's not got the ball, but it's not like it's a yellow for me at most.
At Tynecastle, last minute of the game, Scott Brown makes that challenge. Is that a booking?
No, it's a red card.
No,
don't be ridiculous.
You get the gallows out and you hang him after the game's done.
Kev,
you've just stole what I was about to say, and that's the thing. There's 2 things about it. One, you asked the question, if it was the other way around, would you be looking for the red card? The answer is yes, you would be. Secondly, you've got to ask the question of, the club haven't contested it.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? The club haven't contested it in any way, shape, or form. They're not coming out saying that we're going to. So we've effectively went, do you know what? Yes, it was a red card. It was reckless. And he's asked a question to the referee. The referee's not that far away. It's like a referee's actually watching the game and actually seen what's happened. Unlike another referee who watched the game and didn't see what happened. But hey, we'll brush that one under the carpet a few weeks ago.
Here's an extra layer of complexity for you then. So obviously Tam has been very vehement in saying that it's not a red card, and obviously when the tables are turned, we would say absolutely if it was Scott Brown or whoever, then it absolutely would be a red card. But try and look at it from a neutral point of view and bringing in the point we spoke about last week about VAR. What do you think VAR would give? Like, putting your neutral hat on for a minute, putting your own personal bias aside for a second, do you think that that's a red card by the letter of the law?
It's a red card.
For me, I'm with you, Corbett. I do think it is a red card by the absolute letter of the law. I would say yes. VAR
it,
look at that, they send them off.
The first time I seen it, I thought that is never a red card, but it is. Like, you take your heart's hat off, it's a straight red.
You know
Do you
what?
know
At the end of the day, as well, though, it made absolutely fuck
No,
all
I
of the
can't.
difference.
No, it didn't.
Except he's missing for Saturday because it's a straight red.
He wouldn't be playing anyway, would he? To be
But-
honest.
Who's to say?
The thing that annoyed me out of all was the grovelling shit in the paper, saying I said sorry to him. I waited to say, I tried to say
really?
sorry to him in the park, and I waited and said sorry to him in the changing room, all because he podcasts Wednesday. He wouldn't have fucking said sorry to anybody else. He wouldn't have hung around to say sorry if it wasn't Derek Ferguson's son, who's on his podcast. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, fuck that shit. Put that in the bin. If you're going to be a hard man and you're going to leave the stud in it, be a hard man. Do you know what I mean? Don't be, you've just acted like a pure coward.
If it had been Scott Brown, he'd had that challenge on. Would he stayed and done the same thing? Would he shite?
Aye. No, I can't. It's embarrassing, man. Just do what you say. You did what you did. Deal with it. Do you know what I mean?
And if he came out and said that, I would absolutely back him 100% because, and I'll not repeat what I put in the group chat because it's not proper, but the player that you mentioned is fast becoming my
you
new
don't like him.
Oh, I
No.
cannot stand him. I think he is an absolute swine, and we won't have to cut that, so don't worry about it. But no, I really don't like the cut of his jib. Everything I see him do winds me up. He's fast becoming the new Scott Brown or Neil Lennon for me. I can't stand him.
Well,
Rant
you know what
over.
I can't stand? Sports Sound stealing my stats. It was
And Ando quoting them.
Who's
Aye.
got the stats for you? Oh, Corbett.
So we've got, what do we say? Benny, Devlin, Mackay, Woodburn, Gary Mackay, Stephen, Halliday, Haring, Walker, McInnes. So what's that? 9 midfielders. I think they've got 3 goals. McInnes in the League Cup, Halliday against St Mirren, and
Mess in the first game of the season.
Gino, sorry, 4 goals. 4 goals from 9 players in 13 games or whatever it is. You know, it's not rocket science. And that's not a dig at Benny or Devlin because they don't play in attacking positions. You're looking at your Ginos, you're looking at your Mackays, your Woodburns, your Gary Mackay Stevens. They're the guys that have to start chipping in. Do you know what I mean? They play in a front three. We play 3-4-3. So effectively, they're up there. They need to be putting the ball in the back of the net, or we're going to struggle all season long with that.
The thing is, Benny's actually had a couple of chances where he could have pulled the trigger and has decided to lay the ball off.
Yep.
Where, in all honesty, in my opinion, he should have actually taken he should have taken the shot on himself. So he's maybe sometimes just trying to be a little bit too cute with with his play. Just rifle one. I'd rather see him rifle one than make the pass that he has done a couple of times and it be intercepted.
No. But that's fine. Like I said, it's not a criticism of Devlin and Benny because I think both of them have been revelations for Hearts. Do you know what I mean? Saturday, yeah, they were quiet, they were poor, but they're still, I wouldn't swap either of the two of them for Walker or McInnes or Haring or Halliday or whoever. You know, they are the two that will play in midfield for us constant. You know what I mean? If they could get a couple of goals. If Benny could start scoring goals, he'd be 100 million again. You know what I mean? We'd be looking at cashing Suter and him for 200 million. So we can't be complaining at that. So we'll go around the table. Tam for Dundee United. So we've got Dundee United at Tynecastle on Saturday. A team that probably the most all-round away performance of the season. Beat them 2-0. Very comfortable. 1 or 2 Craig Gordon saves, but we missed a few chances in that as well. But for the first 50, 60 minutes of that match, we absolutely battered them. They've come on to our game now. We're joint third with them, aren't we? What would you change? What's your thoughts? You're in charge. What are you changing? What you know?
I'm just going to be an absolute copycat and just say exactly what you've just said.
All right, Tom English.
I've make the same changes. GMS out. Gino maybe gets enough to stay, and hopefully Boyce is back. I've seen there was photos of him training today.
Yep.
You probably imagine to see maybe 60 minutes out of him, not at the most. So you're wanting an early goal. in there if he is struggling still. So Dundee United will be tough. They look like they'll be tough to break down. They've got the best defensive record in the league as well. They've only conceded 8 goals. So when we're Hearts and we can't score many goals, it's going to be a tough game, to be honest with you. So it has to be a real performance for the start for me.
Don't throw out stats either. That threw me right off. I don't even want to know how you know they've only scored 8 goals. It's just weird. It's just weird hearing you talk sense. Right, Kev, what are you thinking?
I actually will agree. It does look like Boyce will be back in the team on Saturday, so he has to take Nando's position. And I would personally like to see Woodburn come in for GMS. I've been impressed with Woodburn. A lot of his runs and his moves, as you mentioned earlier on, he's a really intelligent football player. I think you're right. It just needs a goal from him, just to maybe lift his confidence or whatever. So I would hope to see those changes on Saturday.
So Mackay doesn't come back in.
No, not at the moment. You can screw your face up all you want.
There you go, Tam. You spoke some sense, and Kev's talking shite. So there we go.
I was just about to add, I actually got it wrong. They've got the second best record.
It's fine. So don't worry about it, Tam. I'll let you have your moment.
Sorry.
There you go. Kev's threw himself under the bus for you anyway. He's talking shite. Anyway.
Well, I just generally thought that Mackay, even when he came on last week, didn't look like he wanted to be on the park, if I'm being truthfully honest. I thought he looked lackluster, but hey, let's be honest.
Along with 10 others.
I was going to say 9 others. Craig Gordon with that save in the first half definitely looked like he still was in the mood. But it was a worry from the game last week, and I think the start of the game last week came off the back of a bad or a really poor last sort of 5-10 minutes at McDermott Park as well. So I think that all just effectively compounded our performance on Saturday. But we're making those changes and getting Boyce back in the side for this Saturday. It will be tight. There's no getting away from it. I think we've got to give credit to the boys at Tam Courts, who, let's be honest, nobody knew who the hell he was. But he's actually done pretty well. He's got them playing decent football as well, from what I'm led to believe. Aye,
correct, Ando.
Big wanker. But from that point of view, I still think we've got enough to beat them on Saturday.
Nice one. And then Ando, what about yourself? Anything you like to change, keep?
I'm not going to go over the old ground, but for me, it has to be the strongest team. Nielsen spoke a couple of weeks ago against Dundee about putting down a marker. It didn't really materialise against Dundee because we absolutely shat the fucking bed. Dundee United, for me, I'm sorry, they're in a false position, right? So Tam's made a point about them having quite a good record for goals against. They don't concede a lot of goals. They also don't score a lot of goals. So I've absolutely no problem with Hearts giving them a full pants down shagging on Saturday. There we go. I've said it again. I have jinxed it again, but you know what? It'll be fine, man. Honestly. We'll absolutely screw them over. Needs to be the strongest team on Saturday. Obviously, I'm not, my balls are hairy, no crystal. I don't know what the strongest team will be available on Saturday.
Was that you try to get Manscaped back involved again, right?
I've got news about that. We'll speak about that after the pod, but never mind. So yes, a little sneak preview.
I've never been smoother.
But sorry. We will beat Dundee United comfortably on Saturday. I have no doubt about it. Dundee United are in a false position. Tam Courts, you're a myth.
Write that down for the cut list. Write that for the cut list, because we can't have that going out and they beat us 3-0 like they did with Hibs. We see my thing for Saturday, right? This is my worry, because it'll set alarm bells off for me. And I've got a weird feeling Nando will stay and we'll play Nando up front, right? But I also worry that we'll change the formation to get Boyce in and play something like a 4-2-3-1, which, don't get me wrong, if it produces a shagging, then yeah, I'll take it. But that would worry me the most about Saturday, is that we tinkered for St Johnstone because we didn't have Boyce. We've tinkered for Aberdeen because we were worried about Aberdeen, if we tinker again on Saturday to try and get Nando or Boyce in, and that is when it starts to worry me, because we've been at our best when we've been the consistent, just 3-4-3, same team, do what you did last week. Do you know what I mean? And when we start to do that, Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, let's start thinking about formations and tinkering and what can we do here. That's when I think Robbie is at his worst. We spoke about it last season in the Championship. Not the consistent, like, however, 28, 38 games or whatever it was without a consistent back-to-back starting 11. We know what works well with the team. We know when the team looks its most balanced and it is most fluid. That's what I want to see on Saturday. If we see that on Saturday, I'm in Team Ando. That's what I think will happen. I also share the same opinion of Dundee United as what Ando does. They're in a bit of a false position. I think Aberdeen will be more of a concern in terms of the fight for third than Dundee United, and would I even dare say it, Hibernian. So Saturday's a big game for me, for Hearts. We have missed 3 golden opportunities over the past 3 games to pull away from Celtic, to potentially even be top of the league with dropped points. What are we now? If we don't win on Saturday, we're no wins in 5, having been unbeaten in 11. Like,
Yes.
we're sitting on the verge of, that's what we said about these draws, is they look great when you're unbeaten and you keep going, but as soon as you lose, we're 2 wins in 9, no wins in 5.
Yeah.
If we lose on Saturday, we'll have lost more games than we've won at home. Like, do you know what I mean? We're on the verge of a tipping point, so to speak, in terms of where I see the season going. You know, we lose on Saturday, we're 3 points behind Dundee United, with potentially Aberdeen potentially be able to join us. I think they're on 18 points, are they not?
No, Aberdeen and Hibs are on 15, so they'd go
Right.
up to 18, but still have
So
a
they'd be
win
3
win between us.
Right.
Yeah.
So they'd be 3 points behind us.
Yeah.
Hibs again would have 2 games in hand, or however many games in hand they would have. So Saturday's really important for momentum, for bucking the decline that we have right now. Do you know what I mean? And just showing that actually we are the first team in the country. We are looking to move forward. So yeah, that's my hopes for Saturday. So big boy, pants on time. Tam, give your prediction.
No.
No.
You absolute shite hawk.
Yeah, like, they've got good defensive record. We carry score,
Fuck
they
off,
carry
Tam.
score.
Away you
No.
go.
Facts.
Right, there we go. Kev.
Disappointing Tam there. I'm going home win 2-0.
Ando.
Same 2-0 for the famous.
I'm going Dundee. It's a 1-1. I think it'll be tight and nervy. If they score first, it will be really difficult for Hearts to get back in the game. Crowd will be on them. Crowd will turn, all that type of stuff. So I've got a feeling that it'll be a draw. Would be my 1-1 is where we're going with that. Cool. Right. We want to do cunt down and then we'll call it quits. Or
We
call
will.
it quits and keep it for another day.
We can keep it for another day if you want. It's up to you.
Well, it's up to you.
It's quite late. Does anyone
It's
need
20
to?
past 12.
Yeah.
It's 20 past 12. Let's rain check. Let's rain check.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's cool.
Right, boysies. That was a cunting good show, wasn't it?
Yeah, bet your fucking it was. I cannot wait to see all you good on Saturday. We're gonna have a right old fucking hot of a time, and we're gonna beat those Dundee United by about 6-0.
Good luck, Tam.
You've got nothing to do anyway, Tam. You've no mates and your brother takes you. Right, boys. See you later.
Hey, boys, all the best.
See you later.
See you later. Gotta get out.